starting to the top right of the map of Star Station, we have the Root Gaming player. It is
Root Gaming YugiOh.
starting to the bottom left of the map, cross-positioned. We have his opponent, the Protoss player for Team Prime.
Creator Prime.
That pylon placement, would be shocked to see anything but a gateway build from him on this map. Very, very large map, so gateway builds can be a great way to deny your opponent's third base, or at least make him delay it once he scouts it.
YugiOh so far had a really good start into the game, and for Creator it seemed to be that in Wings of Liberty one of his biggest enemy was his own emotions. Then at the end of Wings of Liberty it looked like he conquered them, but in Heart of the Swarm they popped up once more, and now he's struggling with a lot of anxiety. That's at least the impression that you get when you're watching his play. Yeah. So today is going to be one of those days where we'll find out if Creator is finally able to master his emotions, if he's able to get into a cool and collected mindset that he needs to win those matches. And this is like one of the toughest games that he has today. Up and downs are always atrocious to a player.
By the way, get your WCS Season 1 Finals tickets. Watch us cast that. It's going to be fun. We're casting here at the studio. And if you do come to the studio, you can hear English audio, as there will be no Korean audio going loud out throughout the stream. So if you come and sit here for the first time, we'll actually have English commentary throughout the entire studio. So if you're in Seoul during WCS, you better be here.
Right now we have, if you're looking at the statistics for YugiOh, we have a 50% win ratio for him against Protoss in Heart of the Swarm offline. He lost to Naniwa back at DreamHack Stockholm. He won against MC though, and he also took a win against Lure that was still in Code A, but he lost to Paralyze. And now he's up against another Protoss player, and so far, actually the Prime player is like doing really decent in the up and downs this season.
Very true. Having a tough time in GSTL, but as far as the individual leagues go, going all right. You know, Creator had a really tough time in his Code S group, falling all the way down to 4th place, if I'm not mistaken. And we're seeing Creator do just a Mothership Core expand off of one gateway. No units made at all, which is very risky, but YugiOh did not send a drone scout out, so he has no idea. And this is still the GSL version of the map, so it's 4 players. So the Creator, you know, is taking a bit of a gamble here, but YugiOh can't just assume he's cross spawns like you would be able to on the ladder map. YugiOh
is actually heading into a very, very early 3rd base, and given the build that we have here for Creator, it's very dangerous.
And he doesn't, I mean, after he started it, that's when he found out what Creator was doing, so it's not like he's seen it and then go, I can still hold this. Now he's got to be feeling a little bit stressed out.
What usually happens if a Protoss player goes into a gateway build is that the Zerg adapts his own style and starts his tech a little bit faster, or at least delays his 3rd base so that he gets more units out first, because it's very difficult to hold this 3rd base if the Protoss is really trying to attack you early on with gateway aggression. So YugiOh now starting the 3rd before he saw what kind of opening Creator chose to use in this game, and this leaves him a little bit vulnerable, and he must feel very uncomfortable right now. He knows that he still can make this happen, but he has to be so cautious about what's going on.
Yeah, extremely so. I like the positioning here by Creator on that sentry. He even makes a 2nd one now. And with a 3rd sentry coming out here, I would not be surprised to see Creator add a 4th gateway once he scouts the 3rd base, and then go for some sentry pressure with his Mothership Core. He hasn't used any of the Mothership Core energy, so not only could he use it for a recall, also aggressive time warps against the Zerglings that YugiOh has. YugiOh is skipping the Roach Warren too, so he's playing this really greedy, no gas whatsoever.
Yeah, the one thing that one of the benefits that you have if your opponent starts with the gateway is you don't have to deal with the early +1. So the Roach Warren, you can still work with your Zerglings. The danger is always the sentries. If they are perfect force fields and you can't get close enough to your opponent, then it is an issue. If you bait out the energy as much as you can, then you can actually make this work with the Zerglings alone, but it's always a risk. And we have YugiOh now adding that Roach Warren, and also a lot earlier than you would usually get it. With a normal Forge Expand, you get the Roach Warren roughly at 7:20 up to 8 minutes, depending on what kind of timing you want to use here. But he's getting it at 6:30, so already adapting a little bit to what he scouted.
One thing I want to mention is that Creator has not scouted anything. This is his first glimpse right now with the Phoenix. Comes in here, sees the spawning location of his opponent, which he saw late, and he's barely going to be able to see the 3rd. The Phoenix almost times out. So he sees everything, and now he's going to commit to the attack. He added the 2 gateways that I was talking about earlier. He's going to come out here with his Mothership Core, and right now, YugiOh needs to start roaches because he doesn't have enough lings, and they're slow lings, so he can't try to defend with those alone.
and this is one of the biggest problems that he actually has, that he doesn't have the speed upgrade for the Zerglings. He won't really be able to use them against his opponent. And Creator now not only moving out, but transitioning immediately into double Stargate of all things. So really interesting build already. And YugiOh, he does not only have to defend against the attack that he's now facing, but at the same time, he needs to find out what's going on so that he can deal with the follow-up.
Exactly. So right now, Creator just wants to force some larvae to be made into roaches or lings instead of drones. He knows he's not going to kill this third base with this attack. This is not a heavy commitment. It's just a pressure, and he just recalls. He forces some roaches to be made.
That's a little bit premature.
Yeah.
Very premature, actually. Like, there was no need for him to recall this fast. He could have just tried to hug the creep a little bit, at least the edges of it, try to bait out more units. And I was just about to say that with the upgrade that we have now into Burrow, as soon as he has Burrow, the good thing for YugiOh is that he won't die to what Creator has with the gateways alone. So that is going to help him a lot here. He doesn't really need it, but it's YugiOh's responsibility now to find out what he's actually facing. And, you know, I think he might actually completely miss that.
Yeah, I mean, he lost his Overlord. He tried to come in, but he was denied because Overlord was so low on hit points. We saw it earlier.
Oh, there we go.
Now he sees. Okay.
All right, has an Overseer at the bottom. And now he knows, and immediately he drops the not only the Hydra then, but he goes immediately into Double Queen.
He had some Spore Crawlers from earlier, but he even adds 2 more right now because he knows that Void Rays will just, if they have that charge-up ability available.
I actually didn't see the additional Overlord that he had down there on the minimap. I saw the ones, or the 2 that he killed earlier. But of course, if you're a Zerg, what you want to do when you hit lair, you want to get one Overseer to get into your opponent's main base and just double-check what's exactly going on. And the only thing that YugiOh saw so far was that there was gateway aggression, so he still didn't know about the tech. Now he knows that there's a double Stargate, even another one now coming up, and a massive commitment by Creator to go into Void Rays.
Yeah, he is just gonna go Void Rays, and you know, then more Void Rays. Check out the Husky Nerd Alert song about Void Rays. That's what I'm watching right now, basically. He's continuing to scout too with his Phoenixes. He keeps seeing, now he's seen the Hydra Den, he's seen the Infestation Pit.
And it's going to be quite interesting now to see how exactly YugiOh is going to deal with this. We had a lot of attempts to break this by just attacking early on in the game, trying to hit with the timing before the forces of the Protoss player are huge and strong enough. But I don't think that is what YugiOh is going to do here. He's just dropping a 4th base and he's going into the Infestation Pit, so he cannot go into Infestors and try to get a Fungal later on. It also allows him to go straight into Hive, but we have the Pathogen Glance upgrade first. So if he gets the Infestors out and a good Chain Fungal, that would help him a lot against this army.
Yeah, it definitely would. All he needs is to make sure that he can get the Infestors out in time before the push comes, because I'm not so sure Creator's going to wait until max before he moves out here. He's getting the armor upgrade, however, which makes it look more likely that he will. He has not, if I'm not mistaken, seen the base to the right side of the map. No, he hasn't seen that at all yet.
The upgrade commitment for Creator is also going to be an issue. He doesn't only have +1 attack, he's going into armor and shields too, so he really wants to make this happen. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him drop Fleet Beacon very soon, that he can exit the +2 upgrades.
I would like to see him move out right now. I mean, he's seen that YugiOh is kind of getting ready. He has the Infestation Pit. It was not finished yet. He had the Hydralisk Den. Not a lot of Hydras. I'd love to see him move out with his Mothership Core, snipe that base to the right side, and then recall back. He's just going to play passively here, it looks like. Yeah,
he's not playing too aggressive with this. He's actually taking a 4th base. Or he's trying to, but there's a burrowed Zergling that he is giving him a bit of trouble.
No Robo, so this is going to take a long time to get that base up.
Was that Pylon actually?
It doesn't block.
No, okay. Yeah, for a second I thought it was a little bit too close. What I wanted to point out is that at this point in the game, what Creator could have tried, or a little bit earlier, he could have actually tried to at least take down the 4th base.
Yeah.
This is something that we've seen other players do when they go into a Void Ray commitment. But Creator chose to just play this a little bit more safe, get the 4th, and go for a very late game oriented style where he wants to get those extra upgrades.
Without the Observer there to get that 4th Nexus up, this could actually be his demise that he doesn't attack. Now it's too late. He's missed his window because there's so many Hydras, the Infestors are ready. He sees that with his Phoenix right now. I mean, he might take a fight here, but now it's like, it's too much of a risk. But before, if he had gone out, he definitely would have been able to kill that base. No question about it.
7 queens so far, and we have another one being added, so he's really relying a lot on the queens here in addition to the Hydralisk. And this is one of the most common responses that you see Zergs use against a massive Void Ray commitment, going into Queen, Hydralisk, and a few Infestors to support them. He's even building 3 queens now at a time, and another 5 Infestors. So what you try to use is, you go go for fungals. You can then, if you get good fungals off, also try to use a couple of infested Terrans. You have the queens in the back that can also transfuse, tank a lot of damage, and the hydras for the DPS.
Yeah. Creator actually tried to do this exact same style in Codes in his group, and he lost to Mass Queens because of all the transfuses. Void Rays don't do bonus damage to Queens. He's adding the gateways now so he can start making High Templar to beat back the Queens, and the Infestors as the Templar Archive is now finishing.
I really like the Templar Archive now. I was already a little bit surprised that he didn't go into any kind of area of effect damage earlier. But now we have him committing to Storm, and with the feedbacks he, as you already said, can of course work against the Queens, and he can also work against the Infestors. But to be quite frank, there are so many Infestors and Queens out that even with the High Templars, it's gonna be a problem.
Exactly, and you know, the Hydras are gonna eat most of the Storms, but I think it's all about the Infestors, really. The Infestors are going to lock them down. He's going to drop Infest Terrans, and the Queens are going to do damage from way far away because they have such a good range.
Another thing that we should mention here is that he really commits to Spore Crawlers, YugiOh that is.
Yes.
So he has Spore Crawlers on the map, and he basically has complete map control with his creep. He knows exactly when his opponent is moving out, so he sees him early on with those tumors. We don't have the speed upgrade for the Hydra list just yet, but as soon as they have that, they will be really, really fast and mobile, on that, especially on creep.
YugiOh cannot mess up his engagement though, because this many Void Rays is not something to be trifled with. I mean, I'm just looking at this. We're talking about 17 Void Rays right now, so that will kill everything so fast if you do not hit your fungals properly, if you do not transfuse your Queens.
That is unfortunate here for YugiOh. The War Prism is already in his main base, but those Spore Crawlers are not done just yet. And here comes the rest of Creator's army. The Void Rays are moving in. Detection has been granted, and those tumors go down immediately. He needs to send a few units over to the top right, but also deal with the Void Rays.
Yeah, this is so smart. Creator is doing a diversion here in the main base. He's maxed out, so he can't make any more Zealots to attack that base, but he's going to attack here directly with his Voids.
Run by attempt, though, at the bottom left. A lot of units now streaming towards the natural. A few Roaches and Hydralisks trying to bust through to the third base.
There's nothing really here to defend. He may actually have to use a recall.
Yeah, he might have to, because as you said, there is just nothing, and here you go.
Yep, there's the recall. Only loses a cannon and a pylon. Gonna lose maybe a Void Ray or two.
Yeah, losing 2 Void Rays.
Even 3 there going down. So this is actually a great trade for YugiOh, who has such a bank he can remax instantly.
Exactly. YugiOh bought himself some time and also got into a really good position to take down the space at the left side of the map that is being warped in now. So he's gonna trade that. He's gonna call that trade cheap, even though he lost more resources than his opponent.
He may save the next. No, not quite. It looks like it's gonna go down. Well, he has. Oh, he doesn't target though. That's the problem.
YugiOh doesn't cancel. Yeah, you're right. But still, not a lot of hit points here, and with another force, even a few Dillings just running over, he could take that out. So this is a bit of a liability. Creator has to stick around to save the space.
And speaking of links, he's got Adrenal Glands on the way, so that's going to help him out quite a bit. And Creator, look at his bank, he doesn't have it. He lost a lot of Void Rays during that fight. He's trying to transition to Colossi and Tempest right now, even getting a Dark Shrine to do some harassment. But YugiOh just has total control over the map. His creep spread was contested for a short period of time, but he's remaking a lot of that too. And just his ability to threaten that base, as you mentioned before, is such a liability.
YugiOh is not losing his cool here. And we have, Creator now going into Tempest from 3 Stargates. I like this, because this helps him a lot to zone out his opponent. This is actually a much stronger style than if you rely on Void Rays alone, because with the Tempest you have such a huge range that you can really work very well, zone out your opponent, and what then happens is that suddenly those High Templars behind it have a really good shot at just moving in and getting their feedbacks and storms off.
Yeah. He wants to snipe his base. He's actually getting very close to making it work. It looks like he wants to throw his Queens away here to do it. And he will actually get the space, I think. It's going to be close. The DT there and a Zealot, I think he'll still get it.
Yeah, he's going to get
100 hit points, 50. Oh, no targeting. Oh, okay. It's because it was already dead. I was like, what?
Nah, it was already down. He already got it. But yeah, he has a lot more supply available now, and he's going into more and more spawn Spine Crawlers. He's actually getting a massive amount of those.
Yeah. You know, he would like to have against this composition Swarm Host, but that transition is going to take some time.
Both players are also adding a lot of upgrades here. Really meticulous about the upgrade policy. Lings are running in, getting the Colossus here, and trying to snipe not only the cannon, but maybe even the Nexus.
If he targets it, he may be able to get it. There's not a lot of units nearby, and he starts to target. He has Adrenal Glands.
Adrenal Glands just helps him so much. The Cracklings here are doing so much damage.
Yeah, he's going to get it.
Yeah. Those run-bys are really atrocious to deal with for Creator. Must be so annoying for the Protoss player here to save these bases. He needs to drop more cannons, but he doesn't have a bank.
Exactly, he doesn't have the bank anymore because he had to build both Nexi. He's been losing Void Rays left and right. He's trying to make Tempest, which costs not only a lot of minerals, but also gas. So for him to make cannons is so annoying right now while he's trying to focus on so many other things. And YugiOh with so much static defense will not be broken. Not for a long time. Even with Tempest poking away, he hasn't invested Terrans to bug out the AI, and all these Tempests are, these Templar are going to die.
YugiOh is now even moving into Swarm Host. That will help him quite a lot to lay siege to his opponent. Lay him another run by at the bottom left while the Protoss player is moving in. But with all those additional structures here to defend, it's going to be a really big problem for Creator to break through. The Roach is to the bottom left once again, trying to make sure that there is no additional base for his opponent. YugiOh playing a very, I would call it a very smart game.
Yeah. He's just, he's playing the defensive game with pokes. He's just kind of sneaking around in the back door whenever you least expect him. And he's just constantly delaying mining, killing probes.
The one thing that we didn't see yet, which I would really like to see, is Neural Parasite.
Yeah, that would be great as well. He is switching into some Swarm Hosts. As you can see, the increased lifetime for the Locust is on the way. Corruptor's a little bit of a weird choice to me.
He already has a few Swarm Hosts on the map now, and he's using those Locusts right away, moving them in. And all those additional Infested Terrans now really helps him. Creator is very reluctant to engage completely.
Yeah, this is looking worse and worse for Creator all the time because he's not going to be able to take any more bases than the ones he has. The ones he does have are constantly being rebuilt. He's lost a lot of mining time, and also taking the bases to the north and to the south are already starting to get blocked out by creep. And the force of his YugiOh is just getting more and more spined up. He's just moving further and further forward. The Corruptors are an interesting choice. You know, without Vipers, Corruptor's not really going to be able to fight this straight up.
Pressuring the High Templars here, taking down one of them.
It's worth it for a few lings when you have 4,000 minerals.
Yeah, I mean, he has the resources here, but he still has to be very cautious about how he's doing this, because those bases for Creator, by now they are safe, and with the extra minerals that he has, he can drop the additional cannons to make sure that these run-bys that YugiOh was using earlier are not going to do additional damage.
Yeah, still a lot of reluctance by Creator to make those cannons. He has the minerals now. He is maxed out.
He's moving onto the map with another set of units here. Dark Templars, Archons, Zealots, and a few Void Rays heading towards the right side of the map to take down these bases.
Yeah, he's avoiding the main heart of YugiOh's army right now.
Creator just realizing that he cannot go into a straight attack. He needs to do a little bit more than that, and attacking those satellite bases is really a smart move.
Well, that Archon looks really sad.
Bottom right, left once again.
Infestor burrow by, if you will, and he kills the base once more.
Needs to snipe here, and that's what he does, and we have a Fungal already at the top, and all those Corruptors moving in against the Void Rays. The numbers overwhelmingly in favor of Creator here. Takes down every single one of the Void Rays. Good job here.
And Creator losing this base means, yeah, he has the bank, but only basically one more time. He can't remax this army again after this.
Here comes Neural Parasite, and with all those infestors that he has, it's a really smart move. He has an overwhelming amount of them, and he can use Neural Parasite in addition to the Thunders without a problem at all. Buying himself some time against those Tempests.
He has to pull the Colossus back against those Locusts, and Creator just looks like he's in checkmate right now. He can't move, he can't breathe.
He at least took down the army at the bottom right of the map. Let's not forget about this, but once again we have a move in. Here come those Infested Terrans, a quick dart with the Corruptors trying to take down at least the Colossus.
Just so many free units, so many energy units. These cannons are not ready in time. This is going to be such a disaster.
A few of them will be, and finally, I mean, I like that Creator is finally committing to the cannons. They're just ready in time, I feel, with the additional warp in.
I don't know. It's going to be close.
It's just so many Zerglings that he has to deal with here.
You know, either way, even if he holds this Nexus, he loses all the minerals he just put in the cannons and the Zealots, and he doesn't even save the Nexus. He's going to lose that too.
Too many units. He has to cancel. Once again, the siege at the base to the top center. YugiOh waiting for his Neural Parasite. 7 additional Infestors are coming in now.
Yep. And Creator's bank is getting smaller and smaller.
Here we go! Here come the Fungals, Infested Terrans as well. Is he going to commit to those Neural Parasites? He's trying one. And a great Fungal!
On every single High Templar, he chain bundles it. A feedback goes down, but one more Fungal, and he gets it!
He gets the Fungal, and bye-bye High Templars, bye-bye Storm, bye-bye feedback.
And
this is exactly what he needed.
Some Void Rays going down there too, and so many hit points lost on that army. Creator's army now getting smaller and smaller, and also very weak, very low on hit points.
both of them really depleting their bank, but YugiOh still has a lot of resources, especially in gas, and that's what he needs. He has the base to the bottom right once again, and Creator now has to back off since he lost every single High Templar that he had, which means no feedback, no storms. A big problem also against the Locust since he doesn't have a lot of Colossi with his army.
Yeah, and so far, you know, the mining is just much better for YugiOh with the constant denial of that base, the third base going down time and time again. The Corruptors here, not really, they should not be out here like this. This is actually a donation, what he's given to Creator right now. Yeah. But he may just want to remax with something else. No Vipers. That's one thing that I was a little bit surprised that we didn't see a single Viper come out to do any sort of abducts.
Yeah, that's definitely something that he could have tried to do here.
It's hard against the Templar, though, so maybe that's why he decided not to.
Yeah, the biggest problem that you have with Viper is that feedback is so strong against them.
The Viper's not very fast at all. You know, he's just constantly pressuring here. He's rebuilding the energy on those infestors, making 8 additional ones.
If you use the style that YugiOh is using in this game, you have to make sure that you never stop your aggression towards the satellite bases of your opponent. And this is also a big problem because Creator he can't focus on this attack. And now he's suddenly completely trapped here. His units are being chased away. The Colossus going down. Another snipe on the Tempest. And we also have units attacking the top left right now.
And
he
the third
is
base.
Everywhere.
The third base here is going to be killed probably again. He's got too many Lings and also the invested Terrans. He's just got so much DPS here.
Creator is moving into the top left here. That has another set of units though at the bottom right, which we didn't see on screen just yet. But the Protoss player really trying to push through it, and YugiOh has to retreat to the next line of defense.
Perfect chain bungles here so far. No Neurals used just yet, but he could go for one.
Yeah, he could go for the Neural, but he just wants to have those chain bungles against the Void Rays. If he is able to get those down, and here come the Corruptors finally downing in. Where's the overcharge of the Void Rays? Not used just yet. At the bottom right, still a lot of damage done by the Protoss player, but he's losing his Tempest now.
He's losing his entire expensive army right now. This is not something he can replace. Stalker's blinking to kill the Corruptors, but the last of the Void Rays are gone.
The Void Rays are gone, and now the Corruptors reign superior in the air. At the bottom, finally, we have a few units sent out to take down those Stalkers that have been attacking the mineral line for quite a long time right now. But things are looking very good for the Zerg player here. The Root Gaming player is definitely up in this game.
With the next 14 Infestors, he can actually just end the game with Infestors alone, as long as he Neurals a little bit against those Colossi. And he has so many Infestors now, it's almost as if he Neuraled every single one of Creator's units, he could actually just control his entire army.
Dude, those Fungals, they were amazing.
Perfectly
I mean, the chain
done.
Fungal that he got there.
Oh, this is a problem.
That is an awesome snipe. That was very cost efficient for a Creator.
Yeah. It's like he just found $1,000 under his bed.
We have 34 Infestors. The Winfestors, they are back, dude.
Yeah, they are back, and this base is not going to be here for very long.
The Winfestors are back with a vengeance. The bane of Protoss players all over the world in Wings of Liberty. They are back, and they are here to stay.
And, you know, this base will actually fall. He does it so perfectly. Since some of the Infested Terrans are south to target the units, the rest of them he keeps targeted on the Nexus. A lot of players would make the mistake of turning all of their Infested Terrans, would lose the Nexus, or commit all of them to the Nexus and might not be able to kill it. Great split there. Plus 3 armor is almost done for air for Creator, but he doesn't have very much air left. He has 1 Tempest. I mean, it's not even really useful to have that. He might as well cancel it and get the gas.
YugiOh is suffocating his opponent here. Creator is just running out of resources. With 50 gas on the bank, he can't build anything. He's committing to this attack, but how do you commit when your opponent is just waiting for you to engage?
Now, Creator here is trying to make a desperate last stand, but he can't even move with all the bungles.
Without any High Templars, or without the High Templars to feedback here, what do you do against 34 Infestors? There's just nothing. As soon as you move in, you're gonna get Neural, you're gonna get Fungal, there will be a lot of Infested Terrans, and the Corruptors, they take down everything that could do damage to them.
He has more Infestors than Creator. He has actually more Infestors than Creator has units besides probes. He could actually send every single one of his Infestors and Neural in every single individual army unit if he could get in and close the distance.
If that continues like this, he's gonna pull a Cats and Neural one of the probes.
He might. You know, he actually might just do that. That's, I mean, they're on the same team after all, so.
YugiOh is playing a very, very smart game here. This is really a lot of patience that he has shown, and also the defense that he had with Spine Crawlers, Spore Crawlers, the patience that he's shown with his Queens, the transition, the extra banks that the extra bases that he got for the bank, keeping Creator low. It was really a very thought-out process that we saw here.
Yeah, the next the north here killed without a cancel. I don't even think Creator's playing anymore. Well, he certainly has 200 APM, but he's doing a whole lot of nothing right now because he has no bank, he has no real mining.
Zergling's looking a little bit like an anthill there, being on patrol and just waiting for opponents to appear.
Yeah. I loved messing with anthills when I was a kid.
Oh, you did that? Oh god, I hate you now. I hate people who did that. You were one of those who put the sticks into anthills?
Yeah.
Really?
I was.
Shame on you.
I feel bad about it later. And
I hope so.
But,
You never played Sim Ant? Do you know how much time it takes to build up one of those anthills? Takes an eternity, dude.
Well, here comes the attack now, and Creator just has a whole lot of nothing. I mean, he literally could neural every single unit if he wanted to.
He's moving in with everything he has. The Corruptor snipes the last one of those Colossi. The Infestors alone with their Infestor Terrans do most of the damage. And finally the GG.
And YugiOh finds himself in the lead of the group with 2-0. And Creator is having a rough time. You know, the rest of the Prime players in the up and down stuff are looking pretty good, but Creator starts off with a deficit in the group.
But I have to say that YugiOh played a really great game here. It was not Creator just throwing it. Creator could have done a lot of things to be a bit more aggressive. That premature, I mean, it started with him just being a very... He looked a little bit scared, to be honest, from the beginning.
Yeah, why not attack the 4th base, for example?
Exactly, the 4th base that he could have attacked with the Void Race. Even before that, the premature recall.
Yeah.
So a lot of things where he could have been a little bit more aggressive, trying to be... Yeah, just trying to pressure YugiOh more and maybe get a snipe on one of the hatches, maybe just force a little bit more roaches. But he looked very scared in this game, and he never really committed. He never really thought that he had enough to make that happen. And once that YugiOh got all those additional spores and spines, it was very difficult for him to actually go that well.
Yeah, exactly. And once that happened, once he solidified those bases, especially the 4th, he had the Infestors out. There was a timing window where the Infestation pit wasn't done, and Creator knew the 4th base was there. He had an army that could have sniped it and then recalled away, or even just flown away. And he was too scared. He didn't do it.
Yep.
Then when he actually realized what was going on, and the Zergling was burrowed there, and he couldn't actually take his own 4th, he was like, well, I'll move out. And he saw all the Infestors, and he was like, I can't do this anymore.
You know, WCS NA, we saw Elisha against Zerg players use a lot of Void Race and trying to snipe the 4th base. Just moving in, killing the 4th, and then moving back again, taking his own, getting a little bit of a lead. Something that Creator could have tried to do, but he didn't. And also, one of the things that really was a big problem for Creator was then later, when he tried to go for the Warp Prism attacks, YugiOh committed so much to Spines and Spores, not only at the front, but to secure all of his bases, basically. So that really worked out well for the Root Gaming player. Very solid performance so far by the single Zerg that we have in the group. And we're, of course, heading now into a 5-minute break, and as soon as we come back, we will have the next 3 set of matches here at the GSL Up and Down Group E.